Keep watching our video and find out what scientists discovered on Malaysian Flight 370 changes everything. What actually happened to the Malaysian Flight 370? In my perspective, there was no way to tell what had happened. It might have been an act of terrorism. It could have been a purposeful act by a member of the crew. It could have been a widespread breakdown in the electrical system. The disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 is one of the most well-known incidents involving a passenger aircraft. While many ideas about the aircraft catastrophe have been disproven, the mystery of how the jet could have disappeared without a trace has perplexed investigators and authorities. Nevertheless, a fresh finding on the disaster threatens to change everything. Just what shocking information about the tragic airplane have scientists uncovered? And why is it a hot topic right now? Join us as we go into the disturbing new revelation made by experts about Flight 370 that shifts everything. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on your journey forward with us. Things you don't know about the crew of Malaysian Flight 370. A Malaysian Airlines Boeing 777-200ER took off from Kuala Lumpur at 12:42 in the morning on March 8, 2014, and then headed toward Beijing, ascending to its designated cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. Malaysia Airlines is referred to by the flight number MH370. First Officer Farek Hamid, who was 27 at the time and was on his final training flight before receiving full certification, flew the aircraft. Pilot in command Zahari Ahmad Shah, 53, one of Malaysia Airlines' most senior captains, served as his teacher. In the cabin, there were 10 Malaysian flight attendants. They were in charge of 227 people, 5 of whom were minors. Chinese people made up the majority of the passengers. The remaining passengers came from Taiwan, Canada, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Russia, Iran, Iraq, Australia, France, and the United States. Little did the people on board have any idea about what was to come. Continue on to our next segment to know more about the tragedy that struck MH370. What happened the night the plane vanished? On that particular night, First Officer Farek piloted the aircraft while Captain Zahari handled the communications in the cockpit. The configuration was standard. The communications Zahari made seemed a little unusual. At 1:10 a.m., he radioed to say that they were leveling off at a height of 35,000 feet. The jet left the Malaysian coastline at 1:08 in the morning and started its voyage toward Vietnam across the South China Sea. 11 minutes later, the Kuala Lumpur Center radioed Malaysia 370 contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9 as the aircraft reached a waypoint close to the Vietnamese border. The broadcast sounded okay, but Zahari didn't read back the frequency as he should have. Since then, there's been no word from the MH370 crew. There was never a report of the pilots checking in with Ho Chi Minh, nor was there ever a response to any further attempts made to get in touch with them. The entire plane vanished from secondary radar. It was 1:21 a.m. 39 minutes after liftoff, the controller in Kuala Lumpur was preoccupied with other traffic on the screen. When MH370 entered Vietnamese airspace, controllers there saw it briefly appear on their radar before disappearing. They appear to have misinterpreted a contractual agreement that said Ho Chi Minh was to alert Kuala Lumpur right away if a flight handed over or was more than 5 minutes late checking in. Several attempts were made to make contact with the plane, but all were fruitless. Nevertheless, several theories came out after the plane just went out of sight. Come along with us to our next segment to know more. Theories proposed on the inexplicable disappearance. MH370 took investigators in an unexpected direction. The puzzle surrounding MH370 has been the focus of continuing research and even hysterical public discussion from the very beginning. It seems improbable that a complex machine, equipped with contemporary equipment and redundant communications, could just disappear. Even when done on purpose, living off the grid is practically impossible, and it is challenging to completely remove an email. The loss of the airliner has given rise to several ideas, although many are absurd and all are given life by the reality that modern commercial aircraft do not just disappear. Despite reflexive denials from Malaysian officials and open deception from the Malaysian Air Force, the facts about the plane's peculiar flight route swiftly came to light. Less than a week after the jet vanished, the Wall Street Journal reported for the first time on the satellite signals, revealing that the aircraft had likely been in the air for hours before becoming quiet. Malaysian officials finally admitted the information was accurate. The Malaysian government was suspected of being among the most corrupt in the area, and its inquiry into the flight showed it to be secretive, afraid, and unreliable. Accident inspectors from Europe, Australia, and the United States were surprised by the chaos they found because the Malaysians kept information from them during their first sea hunts. It's difficult to think that the strange flight route, which was accompanied by radio and electronic silence, was caused by any combination of system failure and human mistakes. One theory as to why the aircraft vanished is that the disappearance was intentional. Were pilots dead already? Contrary to popular belief, control of the plane was not taken remotely from the electrical equipment bay. It could be written to explain why, but it's enough to say that control was taken from inside the cabin. This happened in the 20 minutes between 1 a.m., when the plane leveled off at 35,000 feet, and 1:21 a.m., when it disappeared from secondary radar. The aircraft's automated condition reporting system sent a 30-minute update to the airline's maintenance department via satellite within the same time frame. It indicated the fuel level, speed, altitude, location, and any abnormalities. Its broadcast demonstrated that the satellite communication equipment of the aircraft was in use at the specified time. The unlikely scenario of two pilots working together. It's possible that one of them was disabled, dead, or locked out of the cockpit by the time the jet disappeared from the secondary radar's view. Was autopilot purposefully turned off? Primary radar records, both military and civilian, later revealed that whoever was flying MH370 must have turned off the autopilot, because the turn the plane made to the southwest was so tight it had to be flown by hand. Additionally, the circumstances suggest that whoever was in charge of the controls deliberately depressurized the aircraft at about the same time as a large portion, if not the whole electrical system, was maliciously shut off. Unknown factors may have caused the closure. The satellite link was briefly disrupted, though, as one of its negative effects. Was the plane hijacked? Theories point the finger at the flight captain. Some people believe that the plane was hijacked by another passenger who had managed to get into the aircraft. After discovering that a mystery 14-stone load was added to the flight manifest after departure of the Malaysian Airlines aircraft, investigators investigating into the disappearance of the jet were inspired to come up with the respective concept. In a report about the people and their bags, French detectives found the goods. They also claimed that a container on the flight was found to be overloaded, but no explanation was ever given. The theories don't stop there, and it is proposed that the whole event was planned and merely a repetition of history. Take a look at our final segment to know what suspicious facts history holds in this regard. The MH370 disappearance was planned. Although some people would find it unusual that a pilot would kill hundreds of innocent passengers in order to commit suicide, it has indeed happened. In 1997, a captain for the Singaporean airline Silk Air was thought to have turned off the black boxes in a Boeing 737 before crashing it at supersonic speeds into a river. In 1999, the co-pilot of Egypt's Air Flight 990 crashed it on purpose into the sea near Long Island, killing everyone on board. What else? Just 1 month before MH370 went missing, the pilot of LAM Mozambique Airlines, Flight 70, crashed his Embraer E190 twin jet from cruising altitude, killing all 27 passengers and 6 crew members. The most recent instance is the German Wings Airbus, which on March 24, 2015, deliberately crashed into the French Alps, killing everyone on board. Before locking the pilot out, Andreas Lubitz, the co-pilot, waited for him to use the restroom. Investigations eventually showed that Lubitz had previously struggled with depression and had looked into the loss of the MH370 a year before. Reaching the end of our video, it can be concluded that investigations regarding MH370 to this date haven't produced any concrete evidence, and major material that prevails sustains over the theories proposed. Nevertheless, stay in touch with our channel for greater details on such mysteries of the world.